is a car that was successful in the days before rallying, in the road racing era. It's a 1923 Alfa Romeo RL Targa Florio. This was Alfa's first clean sheet design after the war and featured a 3-litre engine that was designed for Grand Prix racing, but they changed the rules. So they dropped the engine into a sports car and it won the 1923 Targa Florio and finished second and fourth. Something that was about navigation, accurate timing and regularity, and lightly modified road cars were the order of the day, like this replica of the 2.2-litre Zephyr 6 that Maurice Gatsonides won the 1953 Monte Carlo Rally with. Over the entire event, they had 2 seconds of time penalties. That's how accurate they were. Of course, Maurice Gatsonides is well known for inventing a special device that allowed accurate timing of cars in rallying events, which became the Gatso camera. Thanks, Maurice. We really appreciate it. Now we've got the 1961 Austin Healey 3000 Mark I Works rally car. BMC head of competitions, Marcus Chambers, looked at the rule book and he created what he could say was the first car optimised for the new format of stage rally. Massively strong, incredibly tough and reliable, and with loads of power. The Healey 3000 was a devastating machine on the special stage. In fact, Paddy Hopkirk said that the Healeys had got so much power that it didn't really matter what happened in the corners. You could always make it up on the straights. And that Mini there, if you look through the rear window, has an extra engine in it. It's a Twinning, 2 engines, tuned by Downton, in a car, a replica of a car that was entered in the 1963 Targa Florio. It was in the hands of Sir John Whitmore. This 4-wheel drive, 200 horsepower monster was 3 minutes a lap faster than the single engine Minis. Although every 2 laps you had to put new tyres on it. Just think what would have happened if they could have homologated that for rallying and developed it into a competitive car. 200 horsepower, 4-wheel drive, it would have been winning rallies well into the 1970s. Following on from the Mini, we've got the 1976 Works Escort Mark II RS 1800. It's reshelled WTW 567S in British Airways livery. Is the car that Bjorn Valdegard won the 79 RAC Rally in. And now the Lancia Stratos, the first car designed specifically to win rallies. Never a proper road car, only 500 Stradale versions were made. Mid-engined, very short wheelbase, very wide track, a Ferrari engine just behind the seats. It won the manufacturer's titles in 74, 75, 76 and would have won it well into the future if Fiat hadn't have dropped it in favour of the 131 Abarth. Sur mon lit à bouffer ça Now we've got a 1984 Renault 5 Maxi Turbo. The Renault 5 Turbo was the first hatchback to get engines fitted behind the rear seats to make a rear-wheel drive rally car, and it won the Monte Carlo Rally on its debut in 1981. By 84 and Group B, it was outclassed, so they homologated it for Group B with Kevlar body panels, and this is a Group B Maxi Turbo. Turbo 16. This is one of the 200 road cars that were sold to Peugeot Rally. Now, this is the #1 Group B rally car. Out of the 28 events it entered, it won 16 of them and won the 85 and 86 Drivers and Constructors Championships. This is a 200 brake horsepower road version, and these are very, very rare. That is the sound of a twin operation. It's a Mazda RX-7 Works Group B car from 1985. Now the RX-7 was homologated as Group 4 cars, so they only needed to build 20 Group B homologation specials. It wasn't actually a Mazda factory project, it was something from Mazda Rally Team Europe in Belgium. It was only rear-wheel drive and had 300 horsepower, so it was never going to be a championship contender, but it did come third in the 85 Conference Battle. Not this actual Now, one of my all-time favourites, the MG Metro 6R4, the first car ever to have a power unit developed specifically for rallying. 3-litre V6 non-turbo with lots of mid-range torque, meaning you didn't need all the plug-in intercoolers, you didn't get the wheel spin problem on mud. This was a very nimble car that was developed in conjunction with strong re-engineering. It came third on its debut event, the 1985 RAC Rally, and I was marshalling on that event, although our stage was cancelled because it was too icy. Another Group B rally car that was late to the party, the Ford RS200. This was mid-engined, more of a Stratos replica than a hatchback. It had a gearbox over the front wheels for weight distribution, but it never quite hit the mark in 1986 in its debut season again, achieving a third place. It did, however, European rallycross racing with 700 horsepower from its 2.1-litre engine. If you're interested in the Mazda, it is available for sale at Cheshire Classic Cars. The 205 was developed under the Tom, who had been a rally co-driver very successfully, and then became head of, I think it was called Peugeot Talbot Motorsport or something at the time. It has has a transverse 1.8 litre engine in the back and the gearbox to the side, so they had a problem that when it went over jumps, the torque reaction in the transverse engine would cause it to tip over. It didn't seem to cause it any trouble because both Timo Salonen and Juha Kankkunen won the World Rally Championship in it. Metro sounds fantastic. And it just looks absolutely outrageous with those wings. It was a pioneer of aerodynamics in rallying. The trouble was it came to the party a little bit later, just at the time when all its rivals, who at that time had less and no aero, produced their Evolution versions, and so the Metro was always playing catch-up. It did, however, win the 1992 European Rallycross Championship in turbocharged form in the hands of Will Goller. Another section. This is called British Coming. This is talking about the British influence on engineering and motorsport. First up, we've got a 1928 Alvis front-wheel drive. The body by car bodies. It's a 4-seat tourer. Alvis created a front-wheel drive Grand Prix car, a straight 8, 1.5 litre with all independent suspension, single-seater, the first British single-seater car ever, that could do 120 miles an hour. But this was a road car. The first Alvis front-wheel drive road car came in 1928, 6 years before Citroën even thought about it. This is a monster replica, supercharged cars that were very successful in racing in the 20s and 30s. But this was the car that motorised Britain between 1922 and 1939 and formed the basis of countless motor racing specials, which was the way that many of our famous racing engineers cut their teeth before starting the successful period of British motorsport from the 60s on. I don't know if you realise this, but the first Jeep prototype was based on an Austin 7 chassis. The first Land Rover prototype was based on the Jeep. This is a replica of the very first Land Rover, the centre steer prototype. The driver sits in the centre. The idea was that it could sell in left-hand drive and right-hand drive markets and be manufactured very cheaply, but they found that having the gearbox and transmission tunnel going between the driver's legs made it rather uncomfortable and lacking in legroom, so they made the difficult decision of making it in right and left-hand drive formats. It didn't do them much harm though, did it? By the end of the 50s, these Austin 7 special builders had made themselves into actual racing car constructors. And our next car is an incredibly famous design. It's the Cooper Climax T51, the Formula 1 car that won the championship in both 1959 and 1960 in the hands of Jack Brabham, and ushered in the rear engine revolution. This actual car is a Rob Walker team car. Sterling Moss won the New Zealand Grand Prix in it, and the Glover Trophy at Goodwood in 1959. It was also Maurice Trintignant's car throughout the 1959 season. British Grand Prix car, the DBR4, which raced in 1959. Unfortunately, it had been developed for 1958, but Aston Martin had decided to concentrate on their sports car programme. By 1959, front-engine cars were no longer the force they had been, and it was just too late. It's pretty competitive, so it could have been developed into a winner. Formula Junior was like a precursor to Formula Ford or Formula 4 1-litre engines. This one, I think, had a 8-series engine. Highly tuned, of course. And this was used in disguise as one of James Garner's cars in the 1965 Melbourne Grand Prix. Probably the most accurate representation of 60s single-seater racing cars in a fictional film. In fact, James Garner has signed with Ashford. Quite a taking driver, but his insurance company never let him race for real, apparently. From 1963, we have the WB120 Special. This was designed by mathematician John Best and his friend Bob White, hence WB. John Best had a bit of an argument with Colin Chapman when he suggested certain improvements that could be made to the Lotus Elite. Chapman was understandably offended, so John Best went away and created his own car to his own very interesting techniques and ideas based on mathematics and aeronautics. Now, in our Austin Love-In, you're probably wondering why we've got a 1971 Nissan Skyline Hakosuka GTR. That's because Nissan partnered with Austin after the war and produced various cars under license, including Somersets and Cambridges, and started with Austin 7s. The Hakosuka, this particular version of Skyline, is the one that really put it on the map. It scored 49 straight wins in Japanese touring cars. I mean, 49 straight wins. Did nobody? What else was out there? Was it just all Skylines? Did nobody else turn up? 49 straight wins, nothing in between. Gosh, it's got a straight V6 engine, 158 horsepower at a heady 7,000 revs. Weighing just 1,100 kilos, it's rear-wheel drive fun all day long.